This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks!
What, Wilbur?
We just got hit and I think my back has all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What?
Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What?
Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Hello, away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3685. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery. Thank you. On the Men's Room. I'll tell you today, Ryan Castle joins us from his basement dungeon studio bar, and once again, we will sit and spin. And today we get sad with the 10 saddest songs of all times. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, mention shout of the day, phone with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV time with Tim.
Clack, clack.
All right, here we go. German woman is sexually attracted to planes.
Yeah.
And wants to marry a Boeing 737 toy. Well, if both of your pilots are asleep on a transatlantic flight, would your heart be filled with joy, or would you just be freaked the hell out? Woman who would only eat potato chip sandwiches for 23 years, try something new. Man is attacked down under, which leads to a body slamming a roo. And man saves planet by smearing cake on the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
All the bitches, good day to you and yours. All right, a 9-year-old girl was hiking with friends right here in Washington State when she was attacked by a cougar. So what did her friends do? Well, they ran the hell away, but luckily a group of adults did come to the girl's rescue, and they managed to get her airlifted to a hospital. Earlier this year, a woman was jogging right here in Seattle. She was attacked by not one, but 2 dogs. The dog's owner saw what happened. You know what he did? Not a goddamn thing, but a group of nearby workers who witnessed the attack, they came to her aid, possibly saved her life. It was a pretty vicious attack. Good Samaritans, you see, they're out there. For example, a 96-year-old woman in Singapore. She did what a lot of 96-year-olds do. She got lost while she was out on a walk. She was missing for over 24 hours before a Good Samaritan found her and drove her home. Look, we could go on, and we will, thanks in part to a list we have of 20 everyday people who ended up in situations where they needed to save another's life. Now, personally, it's not that I don't want to save a life. I just don't want to be in a situation where someone's life needs saving. So, don't choke around me because I'm just not feeling it. Another side note, if you're being attacked by a primate, I promise you, you're on your own. But either way, just because you don't want to be in that situation, it doesn't mean that it won't happen. And that's what we want to talk about today. That time that you were unexpectedly heroic, or that time that somebody came to your rescue. So today's question, very simply, who came to whose rescue?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated row of solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All the Patellas, away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3685. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat on this sunny Tuesday. Ryan Castle will join us. He's at home, probably outside on his back deck, drinking a cold one right now.
He has to be, right?
But he'll join us coming up. We'll sit and spin. Probably not in his basement dungeon studio bar. But either way, Ryan, not the sun isn't kind of, I don't know, making him feel a little better. But he wants to play the 10 saddest songs of all times.
What do you wonder? Is he having a bad day? Is he having a bad day? Is he eating ice cream?
It's just finally nice out, so let's keep people sad.
Yeah, good idea, Castle.
He said there's a survey out there that says that sometimes if you listen to sad music, you actually get in a better mood.
I don't know.
So that was the theory on this. So if you listen to sad music, for some reason, scientists believe that this will make you feel better about your life, your situation,
you believe
how your
that?
day's going. I have no idea.
I don't typically listen to
I don't either.
I mean, look, a sad song might pop up on the radio or something, but I do not go out of my way to elevate my mood by putting on something that I think is sad. Like, I'm not going to watch Old Yeller because at the end I'm going to feel better.
What is a great sad song, then?
Well,
these are the saddest songs. Doesn't mean they're good. It just means they're sad. Right?
Phil Collins. Because everything he sang was sad, but it sounds upbeat, right?
Okay.
Like In the Air Tonight, great song. It's not like a real pick-me-up, but when the drums hit, right, everyone starts bobbing their head. And you know it's a sad song, but you're like, right on, Phil.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
He's the only person I can think of, like, who's consistently a miserable human being, but puts out some pretty upbeat sounding music.
I mean, as far as sad songs where everybody sings along to it, I'd throw Better Man in there.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, I know.
That's sad. Not for her, though, because she's looking for somebody who's,
I'm just saying, I'm just like, that gets a reaction.
Somebody with bills, somebody with a nicer car. You know what I mean? Someone can take care of her a little bit better.
And everyone kept telling, I think you guys misunderstand the song. The lyric is, she lies
and says she still loves him, can't find a better man.
Where's the positivity in that? Like, if she put that in a card to you for Valentine's Day, you would not feel good about yourself.
You are placating my life right now.
I'm lying and say I love you because I can't find something better. Happy Valentine's Day.
Somebody still needs to take me to dinner. And until I find the person I want to, you're going to do it. That's how this is going down. And then, when I find that other person, you'll know it because I won't be here anymore.
All right, here's an upbeat,
what's wrong with that?
Sad song. Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden.
That's not well, I mean, it's not.
It's about genocide, man.
It's like, that's not
a pick-me, but the song itself, right?
Oh, he likes Run to the Hills.
Run for your life. Well, that's like saying Pumped Up Kicks at this point.
Well, sure.
I mean, it's upbeat, but the message is like, ooh.
Did you just compare Iron Maiden to Kicks?
Well, as far as sad songs go,
Jesus Christ.
The Pumped Up Kicks.
Right, I'm with Miles. I like that song. It's a very sad and disturbing song.
It's a very disturbing song. It's like Every Breath You Take from the Police, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, essentially, he's talking about being a stalker.
What is that sad? That's not sad. It's pathetic.
I'll be watching.
It's creepy, but it's not.
This is a restraining order. The song is a restraining order.
But I don't feel bad.
If
for
you
him.
took that, if someone wrote that and sent you that as a poem, right?
Every move you make,
I'll be watching.
every breath you take.
Oh, can't you see you belong to me? If I took this to the police, if I had a girl write that to me,
He is the police.
Oh, that's a good
See, that's the
point.
problem. Who are you going to call?
Oh,
you see what Sting did?
No.
You're going to call the police? I am the police.
They'd set up a sting and bust her. But no, they would definitely
police Sting.
Yeah, they would. And then she wouldn't be allowed to be within what? What is how many feet? Do I get to pick the feet?
It's like 500.
Well, you know, can I make it like a really weird number? Like you can't be within 23 feet of me.
23.
You know, are you allowed to do that, or do they determine? Do they determine based on how crazy you are, how many feet you need to stay?
Because it does seem different for each scenario. You know, like 500 feet, 1,500
half
feet.
mile. You know what I mean? Like, can I get the full mile?
You need to leave the state.
Sure. I mean, can I determine how far I would like you to be from me? How about 12 feet?
Let me go with 12.
Yeah, because your aim is
You
terrible.
can keep staring at me, but I want you touching me.
If you throw something at me, chances are you're not going to hit me from 12 feet because your aim's terrible. So we have the 10 saddest songs of all times coming up with Ryan Castle. We will.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, sorry. People are just throwing out sad songs. They go, the Sarah McLachlan song, no one knows the name of it, from the ASPCA.
Oh, with the sad animals.
See, but that's the thing,
Well,
man. What song could you play, have those visuals, and you feel better?
Let me ask you a
couldn't
question.
play Eye of the Tiger, show that commercial. Eye of the Tiger would instantly become a sad
Did
song.
more people go to the shelter and adopt and foster and take care of animals because of that song, or did that keep them from doing it?
I'm saying more people went because they keep playing it.
Right. You see it all the time. You go.
You know, Sarah McLachlan, it's not a joke. She knew that they were going to. She knew that they were going to use her song. Obviously, they approached her for the rights. She said, "Yeah, I'm all about animals." The first time she saw the commercial, she said she started crying and she doesn't want to perform the song anymore.
Okay, when Meatloaf died, did more people eat meatloaf like in the next week?
I doubt it.
All right, when Jimmy Buffett had Cheeseburger in Paradise, did that spike the cheeseburger sales?
In Paradise, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm just wondering. All right, on over to the Odyssey app as we do every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock. The Men's Room Happy Hour is coming up. We've got props from the 3-day weekend and all the fun that happened there. By the way, if you don't have the Odyssey app, download it now. It's absolutely free. Hundreds of channels on there, including our daily podcast, the weekly stuff we do, and, of course, the Men's Room Happy Hour. That is a separate channel, and it goes live every night at 6. So if you happen to tune that in right now, not going to be anything there for you, but it's explicit, so please keep that in mind when you're listening. If children are around, Men's Room Happy Hour is coming up. And today on the question, we're going to talk about people who came to someone else's rescue. Maybe you're the one who jumped into action. Maybe someone jumped into action for you. Maybe
It depends on the situation.
Maybe you witnessed some people doing some good. Who knows?
I mean, even if you're, and I know there's good Samaritan laws, but even if your job is to save people, there's a story we read today, and this takes place in Florida, and the guy's driving his car, the car flips over, lands upside down in a retention pond, all right? So the authorities show up, and they have divers, because they're going to try to save. One of the people died, the other one, I believe, survived. And the divers show up, with 30 armed men. And those armed men basically made a perimeter around the retention pond to shoot the gators. So I'm thinking, if I'm a diver and you're like, hey, listen, we're sending all these guys with guns. I'm like, what are the guns for? I said, oh, because there's gators in the water. I'm like, guess what? I quit. I'm not submerging myself into a retention pond that you're telling me
I am not,
has gators in it, man.
I'm not by any means religious, all right? But if I had to go in there, I would pray. And you know what that would make me?
What?
A holy diver.
Holy diver!
I got nothing.
I don't even.
I would not jump in, though. Does that make
I wouldn't jump in there at all.
No,
Mike's
that's
walking out.
our job. Mike has literally left the studio. Your joke was so bad.
What other kind of diver is there? You know, I guess you got
Deep sea.
The welding people, those guys.
Yeah, I'm not getting in. Even if that's my job. Like, dude, there's gators in the water.
Better than riding a tiger.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
I'll just fight off an alligator.
I mean, it's your job,
If it's your
job, that's a little different.
It is, but also there's still gators in the water, right? And the thing is, the people that are armed are on the shore. So the only thing they can do is shoot the gator after it has grabbed me when it's doing the death roll, right?
Well, I'm hoping it floats first and they shoot it before it gets to me.
Yeah, I hope so. But I got to go under the surface to get to the car. And that's where the gators are.
Right.
My thought is like, no. I'm not doing that, man.
They're very curious, too. They don't shy away from things. They kind of grab.
No, they don't shy away from
they're
things.
alligators.
Well, right. Where most animals would take a step back if you scare them.
Sure.
Gators,
they're like, ooh.
They come. They keep going. They're like, ooh, action.
Yeah.
If there's a splash in the water of any kind,
they're going to show up.
That's where they're going to jump in and go to.
That's why I would not be a diver in Florida. It's one thing if you dive into the ocean and you discover there are sharks. I understand the sharks in there. This is a retention pond. It's teeny tiny. There's gators in it. No.
As they say, life can change in an instant like it did in Ohio in Litchfield for one man who was riding his motorcycle. A car actually veered into oncoming traffic, and it basically hit the bike almost head on. His leg was severely injured and bleeding, and anytime we're dealing with a possible arterial bleed like that, you can bleed out in a matter of minutes. According to John Smith, he was one of the medics on the scene. The man riding the bike is a former firefighter. He said he would like some privacy while recovering, but is also hoping to find a good Samaritan, credited with saving his life. She improvised a tourniquet out of an elastic piece of plastic, I guess, for the severe bleed on his leg. He did not know it at the time, but with his injuries, he could have easily bled out in minutes. She was in one of the vehicles that was going by and stopped and helped. And we just want to know who she is because we as a department, the victim and the family of the victim, would like to thank them in person.
Sure.
Smith has no doubt that her action saved a life. He would not be around today. It would have been a completely different outcome if they had not come and done this. He hopes people take note and get trained on how to stop a bleeding situation like that, since you never know when it will come in handy. He pointed to the training manual called Stop the Bleed. In case you haven't picked that up, includes how to use and improvise a tourniquet, which I do know how to make. It's been a long time since I tried.
What's the real thing with the tourniquet, right?
You just basically need some type of
material.
Well, you need material.
And then tie it.
You need something to.
So I tie it below, around,
you just
above.
need to twist.
You tie it above the wound, right? Because you're trying to stop them from bleeding out.
Right. It would be really funny if you did it below that and just.
My bad. I didn't know. That's what it said. Like I'm trying to help you, man.
The process. No, he bled out real quick. Put the tourniquet in the wrong spot. Right below the knee.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would. Think of the
I know now.
Right,
but before now, I would have to guess. Like, look, man, I don't know if it goes
between the injured place and the heart. That's all.
Yeah, okay, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I tried to help, and the guy bleeds out.
Mm-hmm. They said, if you know anything about this mystery Good Samaritan, please reach out to the Litchfield Fire Department in lovely Litchfield, Ohio. And then this one just came in, too. You mentioned the gator down the pond. Here's what we have to deal with up here in the Pacific Northwest. A 9-year-old girl survived a cougar attack after wandering up a trail with two friends while camping in northeastern Washington state. Now, this happened Saturday morning near Fruitland, Washington. Girl fought back while her friends ran for their lives. Then adults rushed in to help, and they found the girl covered in blood. She was soon airlifted to a hospital where she is recovering after surgery for multiple wounds to her head and upper body. Others did find the young male cougar and killed it. Fish and Wildlife spokesperson Stacy Lehman says cougar attacks are rare, with only 2 fatalities in the last century here in Washington state. In this instance, this little girl did nothing wrong. It happened quickly. There's nothing she could have done to prevent it. But she said anyone confronted by a cougar should do what the little girl did and fight back and try to make yourself look as bigger as you can.
No offense. Do you know anybody that would not fight back if they're being attacked by a cougar?
Try to stand on your feet immediately. Do not turn around. Do not take your eyes off the animal. Do not run. The story... that's about all they have with that. But thank God for the little girl and the people who came to...
The saddest part about that story, right, because that was, I think, just over the weekend.
Yeah, it was over the weekend.
And then they talked to, like, an animal expert, and they were like, same thing. The little girl did nothing wrong, this and that.
We know.
And they go, the attacks are increasing, and they'll continue to happen as they lose habitat. And I was like, well, it's not reassuring.
I was wondering if this was the a one that was in the news a week ago for being in a swimming pool. Was in somebody's backyard swimming. I don't blame the cougar for doing that.
But I don't know.
If you got an indoor swimming pool, in-ground swimming pool, I mean, this is a pretty cool situation. But they did spot it in there. That would not be where I would think to look. You know, you think you're just going to run outside naked. You're in Eastern Washington. It's warm. You know, you're just going to jump in your pool, take a nice splash off the back deck. Next thing you know, you're swimming with a goddamn 120-pound cougar. Right. You had no idea. You had no idea. You just jump out in the backyard. That's why you need one of those lights in your pool. No matter where you live.
Automatic light?
You need just one of the lights down below. You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
Even if it's just like a bug or a snake or something so you can skim. Our question, who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Andrew. Welcome to the men's room.
Yo, bicholas.
Hola.
Hey, how's my buddy Ben Swan?
Say that one more time.
My buddy, Ben Swan. He used to be your manager.
Oh, Ben the Psycho Muppet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, I talked to you guys a long time ago. Hey, talking about cougars real quick. Out here in Duval, they have Where's Your Predator? 125 pounds. No, there's a 300-pound female in our neighborhood. And it killed 7 animals in Duval area. And I just moved 2 miles behind Duval.
Well, that was not good timing.
300 pounds.
Yeah, it's actually right out a little further down the road. Now, on your subject about saving somebody's life, a few years ago, I was at a barbecue for a volunteer fire department fundraiser at Lake McMurray with a friend of mine and his friends, and a 13-year-old daughter decided to show us how to swim, and she jumped in the lake off the dock about 4 feet off the water, and she could not swim. I had to jump into the water and get her out and reach her up. I had to swim around to save my own you-know-what to get out of the water, and the volunteer firemen never showed up.
That's right, the volunteers. Why did she jump into the water if she doesn't know how to swim?
She wanted to show my friend that she knew how to swim when she really didn't, just because she just was at 13 years old. I guess she wanted to impress him or something.
She knows that the water is too cold to swim in at this time of the year, right?
Yeah. And it was way
So
deep.
she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Well, if you don't know to swim, why would you jump in at all?
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see a smaller kid, but at 13, you know if you could swim.
Right. And you know the repercussions if you can't swim and jump into the water.
She needs to reevaluate her decision-making processes.
Yeah. By 13, I'd like to think you can't be like, hey, I'm embarrassed to admit this. I don't know how to swim, so what I'm not going to do
Jump in the
is
water.
jump into the goddamn water.
Especially this time of the year.
Jesus.
That's why we didn't read about this stuff happening. We did read. There was some terrible things that happened over the weekend as far as people getting injured and water sports and everything else. Yeah. We didn't have to worry about that this weekend because the weather sucked and it's too cold to get in the water. So that's why we didn't read about multiple people with multiple incidents and all that crap. Thank God. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
That dude's voice is like audio sandpaper. I mean, I felt like my brain was getting scrubbed, man.
If you know him, you know exactly who that was.
Do we know him?
No, I'm just saying his voice.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee somebody sitting there is like, oh, that's whoever.
If you've ever met him, you know that.
Have you called AAA?
Good Lord. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the men's room.
Jeff.
Hello, Jeff.
Yo. No Jeff.
Try to give us a call back there, Jeff.
No Jeff.
All right, maybe Jeff's gone. Maybe something happened with
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
Have you guys ever had a situation where someone almost drowned?
Yeah, once. And, I mean, it wasn't too bad. You could just tell it was headed that way. But same thing. It's like a 2 or 3 year old kid. Mm-hmm. And they were in the pool. It's one of those deals. They're in the shallow end, but as they're playing around, they just started drifting toward the deeper end. And like anything, mom's not paying attention. So it's not that the kid almost drowned, but I kind of went over, just pulled him out of the water because that's what probably would have happened. Right.
That's about the extent of any save, quote unquote, that I had when I was a lifeguard.
Is that why you got fired?
I guess. But it's one of those where you look at it, it's like, technically I saved you, but I get the feeling you would have figured it out if I wasn't here.
You weren't necessarily in danger, but it looked like you were headed toward being in danger.
Right. I certainly made it easier for you to get out of this situation, but I don't know that they were in dire need of my help, is what I'm trying to say there.
Okay.
You know, how about you, Miles? Do you ever save anybody?
I mean, I've thrown a pole in for a kid, basically, just like, here, kid, grab onto this. I'm not jumping in for you right now because this is too ridiculous. Like, you can grab hold of this. I'll just bring you in. He grabbed on. He wasn't panicking that bad, so I didn't feel like it was necessary to jump in. But he was definitely having a hard time. The weirdest part about being a lifeguard to me was in a lake, especially, you have to do a sweep at the beginning of the year. Yeah. The water's freezing cold, and there's always some. For the most part, those lakes are not used during the winter months because of how remote they are in the middle of nowhere. The fact that they don't stock them normally with fish, so it's not fishing season. So in the wintertime, there's basically no one on these lakes. They freeze over and everything else. So thus, the lure of the stories of people have dumped bodies here, and they had dumped bodies in that lake before, right? But you still have to sweep the bottom of the swimming area, which is this muddy brown-ass water. It looks like coffee. So when you're getting in at the beginning of the year, you kind of line up with 2 or 3 guys, and you walk in a line as far as you can, and then you go down to the bottom, and in the 9 or 10 area, you sweep the bottom of the lake with your hands, going back and forth to see if there's anything on the bottom that could...
Like a body.
Anything that someone could step on, anything like that, no matter what it is. And inevitably, you grab a log, right? But the log was soaked, and your hand would go through the bark, but then it would stop at the hard wood, and you'd think, I have an arm. Or like a leg. And then you pull it up slowly, and you're like, oh, thank God. It's a stick. Your brain was like, there's got to be a body there, because that's what they always say. Right. It just used to freak me the hell out. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Hey, all of it, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room Podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Speaking of, just in time for summer, there's a nationwide shortage of lifeguards. The people who jump in and help you.
I'm making a comeback,
The people who save you.
Is that what they're asking, Mike?
Damn it.
I think you've already taken a swing at that one. Problem can affect up to half of America's roughly 300,000 public swimming pools.
Damn.
Not to mention beaches. Citing estimates from the American Lifeguard Association, I still have my card. Do you, Mike?
Nope.
Across the country, would-be swimmers already finding delayed openings, reduced hours, outright closures, and swim at your own risk conditions. As many public swimming holes, they say the city of Austin has about 30% of the 750 lifeguards they need, meaning that half of the city's pools will not be open in early June. Milwaukee has 56 out of the 300 lifeguards they need. This was the job to have.
I was going to say, man, wasn't it like in the summertime, every teen was like, look, man, either work retail or you work as a lifeguard.
You're working in a pool. I mean, for the most part, you open the pool.
Right.
You check the pH levels of said pool.
Sure.
Make sure that the chlorine is right and everything. You get the pool ready, and you check the locker rooms, bathrooms, make sure that there's toilet paper, paper towels.
I mean, my niece, Maddie, did it for years, but I want to say she's in college now, but I think the last couple of years she did it. Like, they were like, you're in charge. You're the manager now. You got it. Because she was the only one that would show up.
There's the concession person. They're going to come in and do their job. Right. Typically, if you have a concession stand, there's somebody who just runs that one little area.
What do you think the lifeguard shortage, what do you think this is attributed to? Because, again, when we were growing up.
I don't know. I thought it was one of the more glamorous jobs of the teen years.
Certainly from a teen perspective,
because you had access to the pool, man.
Right.
3 o'clock in the morning, you have access to the pool.
Exactly.
You have a key to go in there. And if you don't make any problems, you can hang out in the pool.
Yeah, clean up your mess.
Yeah. Be smart. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, somebody here says, I lived in Florida, collect golf balls in lakes for extra money as a kid. Swam with gators all summer. They're not as aggressive as you guys think. All right, I'm still not getting in.
Is it really worth a Pro V1?
And then someone else says, I pulled a 98-year-old man out of his burning apartment. A week later, I was invited to his 99th birthday.
That is awesome.
I hope it wasn't a surprise party.
He didn't remember either one of those two events.
Who are you?
How old am I? Why does it smell like smoke in here? Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jeff. Welcome back to the men's room.
Hola, my bro lads.
Hola.
You guys rock. You're the best. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to... Thanks, man. I just want to tell you real quick. So I was a Navy corpsman for like 11 years, and that just means the medical stuff. I went with the Marines, and there was this one time we were out on the Isle of Amman, and they let us just kind of stripped down, and we all just jumped in the ocean.
Oh, I thought you said you were naked on a man.
Right.
Yeah,
we stripped down naked on a man. It's brilliant. It's beautiful.
And we were all looking down, and I was looking down at these fish, and I started, as I look up, and all of a sudden I'm way out. The tide had pulled me all the way out. And it was one of the times in my life where I thought, this is it. I'm going to die. And I just kind of gave in. And this Marine saw me. He's like, hey, Doc. And he came out and saved me. And I'll never forget it. And then turnabout's fair play, it must have been like a year later. We were back at the BAS, the Battalion Aid Station. And he came in with heat stroke, and we wound up saving his life. So it was just,
that's cool.
It was one of those things in my life.
No, wait. How quickly did you decide you're giving in? Because the way you're telling the story, it's like, man, I'm pretty far out here. I mean, were you struggling out there for a minute or what?
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. So literally, I was swimming. I must have been swimming at least 20, 30 minutes before I actually just kind of floated on my back and didn't worry about it. It's been a long time since I thought about where I was. And the moment I found out, the moment I looked up, because I was kind of floating on my back, looking down at the fish, floating on my back, and the next thing I know, they must have been they were like little dots. That's how far away everybody was at.
Yeah, typically you don't just float on your back. You know, like you keep your head down, you're looking to see what's going on. You're near a reef.
Not Jeff.
You've got a buoy someplace or a boat someplace.
He floated 4 to 7 miles to another island. I didn't even realize it.
I never just float on my back, like lay out and be like, all right, just take me away.
You know what I mean? That's exactly how it was. I was just literally like, this is great. I'm in heaven. We're in the middle. It was like Desert Storm. There was a lot of stress going on. So it was like one of those times where we could just kind of go out and have a little fun. But, the rest of the time was all military. So it was just one of those times where I just said, screw it. And then when I realized how far out I was like, there was no way I was going to swim against that tide.
I think you realize
that. And I tried. And I panicked.
I think you realize when you're a kid, body surfing, boogie boarding, whatever you're doing, you know how far and how fast that stuff's going to happen. Because you'll get out of the water and you will be 200 feet away from your towel. Oh, yeah. 200 yards away.
Oh, yeah, down the shore.
You cannot believe how quick.
And it doesn't matter who you are. It happens every time. So we were in Mexico a couple of years
and you're in the same break.
But the kids were splashing. We're at a beach. The kids are splashing around the water. My wife and I are eating oddly warm oysters that they literally just pull them out of the water, and eat them, right? And the kids don't realize, we keep our eye on them, and they don't recognize that they keep drifting down. And every time we'd see them turn around, and you could see the panic they had when they realized they couldn't find us, and I'd have to go jog down the beach, just waving my hands like, guys, come back up. They're like, well, we didn't walk down there. I said, look, it happens when you're in the water. They couldn't wrap their head around it. They get back in the water. Another 10 minutes later, they're panicking again, got to run back down the beach. I said, look, if you get in the water, just understand, when you look back at the beach, you're not going to see us.
When you think
we're here. We have our eye on you.
And when you're paddling out straight, and you think you're paddling out straight, and you're paddling toward the break, you don't realize that you're going about as far down as you are out.
Yeah.
It continues to take you. It looks like you're going straight, but you're not.
You're not.
Dude, I forgot about it last summer. I just hadn't swam in waves in a long time.
Right.
Same thing. It's like, 4 buddies. We're all 40. Everybody could swim. But yeah, after about half an hour, we were like, damn it, we got to walk way up the beach.
I know, it sucks.
Where's our stuff?
Yeah. Who came to whose rescue? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Joel. Welcome to the men's room.
Thanks, guys.
Hola.
Hola. So, growing up in Colorado on the river, got bored using the rope swing all the time to jump in the water. We decided to set up a zip line and James Bond out there and drop into the water.
How old were you? How old were you when you decided to create your own zip line?
We're about 16 or so.
Okay, all right.
16, 17.
How did you winch that?
Well, we never got to that part.
Okay, all right.
So we found some rope, somebody's house, something like that, and tied it around a tree and tied it around my friend's chest, so he could swim with it. And out he goes across the water. And about a minute later or so, and while we're at the river, we're hiring kites the whole time. We hear a help, and it's like, oh, that's weird. And then we hear a help again, but this time kind of with water in his mouth. The rope had absorbed all that water and started sucking him down the river, and it had cinched. We actually tied a slip knot around him, And so it was just pulling them under the water. And we had to jump in and kind of grab them and get the rope slack off of them and help them to shore.
How far out was he?
How far out?
Yeah.
The river was about 60 feet wide, so he had drifted down probably about that far.
It's fast.
But it's around some bushes and stuff, yeah.
Would it have been easier to pull the rope and, string him back in?
Yeah, probably, but like I said, we're all hiring kites.
Okay. Fair enough. I was just wondering, man. I didn't know.
Running after him. Probably.
Good times. Well, people get on the river. The one thing is always the log. If there's any kind of log boom, if anything went in, if there's anything where there's ability to go under that, to be sucked down in, it's just pretty sure that's what happened to the girls in
Virginia,
in Richmond over the weekend. They
went over a dam. It's only 12 feet.
They did do that, but then there were logs down there, and then they got sucked under there, and then who knows what, That's the scary part of that.
You ever seen a movie?
That river is running fast. It's still cold. The water's still cold there. It's a James River, for crying out loud. It's dirty.
I mean, it is, but it was also 95 degrees.
Right.
I mean, that's why these things happen, but also, I can't get too mad at people when it's that hot and humid.
Yeah, of course.
Let's go get in the river.
No.
You ever seen the movie The Gray?
Yes.
All right, so I know you have.
Is that the one with the wolves?
Right, so go to the wolves, and basically it's Liam Neeson trying to escape a pack of wolves that are systematically eating every goddamn body that he's with, okay? So this whole movie goes on. It's better than I'm making it sound, but it's pretty intense, right? Not a whole lot of dialogue. There's just wolves and there's Liam Neeson. What else do you need? And I'm talking to Mike about this movie. Now, keep in mind, guys are getting devoured for 2 hours by wolves. And Mike goes, man, oh, man. Seeing it freak me out. It's exactly what you're talking about now, Miles. One dude, they're trying to cross a river to get away from the wolves. He ends up slipping, gets caught under a log, and drowns, right? That's what bothered Mike.
Yep.
Well, it's terrifying.
Not
the wolves.
Not like the 18 dudes that have been getting mauled and killed by wolves.
Because to a degree,
one dude gets stuck under a log. Mike's
you end up getting into a washing machine cycle.
Pretty much.
And it spins you, to the point where it's like being in a rolling current, and you're just getting tumbled.
And to a degree, you can disassociate from the wolves because they're kind of bigger than average. They're clearly CG.
They're wolves,
right.
man.
But when this happened, this was doggone real. He slid, and he is from me to this microphone away from the surface of the water.
Right.
Salvation is here,
right.
and he can't get it done. That is one of my worst nightmare ways to go.
Not only that,
to me, the wolves bug me. I'm just saying, through the movie, I understand. I'm not saying that guy went out like a champ. I'm just saying, given the choice. So in that movie, if you had to die one of two ways, and they said, look, man, you can get trapped under this log or get mauled by the wolves. I got to pick the log, dude.
You wouldn't even want to do tree across the stream.
Hold on, you pick the wolf.
Trust me,
Yes.
just the idea of tree across the stream sucks enough already. Even if you don't fall, it is terrifying. I hate doing that. You got to point your toes in.
Yeah.
You feel like you don't have any balance. If there was no water underneath that, you could walk across that damn log 55 times. It would be no problem whatsoever. But the fact that there's a 5-6 foot drop into water that's flying down the side of a mountain just scares the living hell out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's scary.
Yeah.
It's better than wolves, that's all I'm saying.
No.
Well, the wolves, they have no problem getting up there. They got crampons.
Once your body gives you up and you're just going to die to these wolf attack meds, it's going to pump every kind of number and painkiller and shock absorber that it can into your body.
See, man,
and you're just going to have a great LSD trip and die.
Because what I've heard, and I don't know how you prove these things, because when people die, they're dead, right? But they say, well, when you drown, and again, this makes no sense. How do you know this to be true? But they say it's somehow, before you actually die, there's some calming thing. Now, look, I don't know if I agree with that, but I do know that I'd be more inclined to panic if a wolf is actively eating me.
Okay.
And there's another thing, Mike. Based on our question today, you're trapped under that log. I promise you, I'll give you 100% of my effort to get you from under that tree.
Thank you.
You get attacked by a wolf. I'd be like, what do you want me to tell your fiance, bro?
I'll tell you to go away. I'm like, let me take him away
But
from
I'm dead serious.
No, you wouldn't.
Okay.
No, you would not.
You're in Eastern Washington. There's bears in Washington.
Yeah.
There's cougars in Washington.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of crap that could kill you, right? Yeah. There's wolves. So you should come prepared. So with the bears, you have bear spray, just in case. I'm not saying it's going to work, but you got it.
Sure.
For the big cats, you got the laser pointer. All right? And it doesn't take much to put this in your backpack.
You are convinced with this laser pointer,
I'm telling you,
Miles.
they're cats.
To give them
They're
credit,
cats.
they did show a zoo, and it was like 5
videos.
tigers,
They're
and they
going
did a
nuts.
laser pointer.
You so badly want to try this out.
I don't, but I'm just saying, I think it's my best option.
You're not that confident.
It's my
You
best
just think
option.
it's best.
What if I had, I don't know, some catnip? I just think the laser pointer. But then, For the wolves,
what do you got? What do you got for wolves?
Okay, so I'm going to say there's no more. I'm going to say it's a lone wolf, but just in case, I'm going to.
You have a very specific scenario.
Well, I'm just assuming
which is rare because generally they hunt in packs.
How many do you think there's going to be?
4.
4. I got 4 pizzle sticks. So I got 4 dried bone penises.
Oh, the bull penis.
They don't take up much room, and they're light in my backpack. Yet I have them. And when the wolf approaches, I throw the pizzle stick, and then one of them, they probably want to fight for it because it's so delicious and tasty. It's dried bull penis, right? This gives me some time. So I just throw the pizzle sticks for the wolves. I use the laser pointer for the cat. I'm just saying.
Here's where I think you went wrong.
They don't do a whole lot of warning, man.
I think the wolves followed you because they smelled your pizzle sticks.
They want the pizzle sticks. They don't want me. It's like having like pepperoni.
If you don't bring the pizzle sticks, then they're not going to follow you.
If I bring pepperoni sausages, they're still going to smell those and want those. But the pizzle stick takes time to eat. So it's going to take them a little time to break it down, which is going to give me enough time to get the F out of there.
Miles going to get himself killed by carrying bull penis. And then the wolves smell it going like, ooh, we got to find the story. There he is.
Depending on your dog, it'll take him at least a couple days or maybe like a night to knock down a pizzle stick, depending on how aggressive he is. So this gives me the half hour I need to get the F out of there.
So you think you're tossing the pizzle stick, and just like a dog with a treat, they just kind of hunker down.
Oh, dude, they're not passing that up. They are not leaving that for another dog.
What about
They're not.
You know what? Then bring one of the squeezy, stuffy things that squeeze.
This is food. This is straight up tasty, delicious.
But this mimics the sound works. Right. If I throw the animal with the squeaker in it, because remember, it's supposed to simulate an animal in distress, in the wolf's mind, this weird, bloodless creature is still clearly in distress, and the wolf was like, I'm the boss.
Okay. I'll throw the raccoon, squirrel thing, whatever, the stuffed animal, but I'm telling you, the pizzle stick is going to give me the freedom. It's going to save my life.
I would go squeaky toy. If they, again,
I can just see him putting the paws together, laying down with a pizzle stick up in the air and just gnawing on it, and then to the other wolf who wants to get in on the pizzle stick. They have completely forgotten about me at this point.
I think it's another one of our horrible game show ideas. Like, look, both of you are going to face a wolf. All right, now you have no weapons, but you can either take the pizzle stick or you take the squeaky toy.
2-footer too, a big one.
I'm taking the squeaky toy.
I'm taking the squeaky toy as well.
You're taking the squeaky toy?
I'm taking the pizzle sticks.
Where are you going, Mike?
Absolutely.
It's a game show. You going Team Miles? You going Team Thrill and Ted? You got to pick one.
Neither of them are going to work.
With
Mike,
that game show, I think the pizzle stick works.
I do too.
Really?
I think it works better than the scoot toy.
It's lightweight, so you can keep it in your back.
It is.
Here's the thing: the wolves are not looking at me and circling in and closing in on me to play.
I know this.
I also think that a pizzle stick isn't going to be enough.
It's a snack.
You are the snack, Miles.
Look, you can't. If I threw that at them,
you're the pizzle stick.
There's no way they're leaving it. Somebody's going to take that pizzle stick, and once they get a taste of it, then all.
But
of
it's
them,
not like. Look, if people go out hunting, right? Say you're hunting deer. Now, if one of the deer is smart enough to throw jerky your way, you're not going to stop hunting the deer, right?
Well, you might.
What kind of jerky is
that teriyaki?
It's peppered.
Peppered? You know what? The deer will get another additional 5 seconds.
Tosses you the Seinfeld box.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I hear you, Miles, but like, I'm just worried this pack is actively hunting me now. Like, try to toss him a snack.
They are, but they found something more delicious.
But Ted, let's do the game show for the deer. If he tosses you, there's one group that's going to toss you jerky, the other one's going to toss you the Seinfeld box set.
Which one are you
taking?
Oh, well, the Seinfeld box set.
Okay, that's like the squeaky stuffed animal, right?
First of all, that would be impressive.
This is hours of entertainment, right? They don't know what it is. The stuff he lands there, it bites into this stuff. Again, shocked that there's no blood, but it screams every time it bites in. I'm telling you, then all the wolves, this is my theory, all the wolves join it because they're going to rip it apart. And then I have hightailed it out of there. As I watch them eat you with your pizzle sticks.
No, they're not going to. They're not. They're not passing up.
The last thing I saw was Miles whacking a wolf over the head with a bull penis.
They would never leave that pizzle stick for another animal.
Yes, they would.
Because they know it's tasty and delicious. No, they wouldn't. It's like
they know you're more tasty and delicious, Miles.
No. It's like walking by a pizza, and you know it's for everybody.
We're going to have to force this to happen.
You can't just keep walking by the pizza. Right? If you know we all got a pizza. There's 4 of us in here, we got a pizza, right? We put the pizza out on the counter. There's no way we're all going to just keep walking by and nobody's going to eat a piece of pizza. Because we bought the pizza to eat the pizza, right? So we're not going to walk by. We're going to take a piece of pizza.
But then you're walking towards a free steak from the Met.
But no,
that's right. That's my issue. Right? Is that like you're right? Like I love salami,
but you give them a sampler platter.
Right? If I'm at a steakhouse, it's like, do you want to just keep eating salami, or do you want the steak? Like, no, actually, I want the steak. I came in.
This gives me enough room while you eat the appetizer.
Now the steak threw the pepperoni to you.
Yeah.
But I bet you still plan on eating that steak. Where if I get a little squeaky toy, they are truly distracted.
Truly distracted, man.
Well, I know I got the cat with the laser pointer. That is no doubt about it. Absolutely. I'm scot-free on that one.
Somebody says they're effing wolves. They'll eat that bully stick in 2 minutes to chase you down. What are they going to do with the squeaky toy? My money says they're preoccupied.
They're going to pop. Right. They're going to pop the squeaker. They're going to rip it out in about 30 seconds.
That gives me 30 seconds. Until the squeaky is out of the stuffy, you are what every dog does. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep biting this thing until I can rip it out of there.
Who came to whose rescue? 206-421.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
En Lowe's tenemos grandes inventarios disponibles en cientos de productos que los profesionales necesitan todos los días, como tejas, concreto, madera y más. Y ahora te los entregamos al día siguiente directamente en tu obra. Empieza hoy y ordena en línea o visita el mostrador para pros en tiendas. Disponible de lunes a sábado en artículos selectos en inventario solo en el área metropolitana de Charlotte, sujeto a disponibilidad. Para pedidos hechos antes de las 4 p.m. Más detalles en el mostrador para pros.